In the quiet of her office, Representative Jasmine Crockett stares at the blinking cursor on her laptop screen. An email subject line reads, "Invitation to televised congressional hearing on media ethics, special guest Sean Hannity." The words send a ripple through her chest. It's no ordinary hearing. This is a public stage, a setup carefully crafted by political adversaries and conservative media to undermine her credibility. Yet, Jasmine's gaze hardens. She's fought too long and too hard to back down now. Her mind flashes back to the many times her voice was dismissed as too emotional, too divisive, or simply inconvenient. This invitation is both a gauntlet and a spotlight. Accepting means stepping into the lion's den, a place where truth is often buried beneath theatrics and soundbites. But decline, and she risks appearing weak, silenced, or complicit. Jasmine picks up her phone and dials her chief of staff, Aaron. His calm voice reassures her. "They want to show, Jasmine, but we'll be the ones writing the script this time." She nods silently, more to herself than to him. Outside her window, the city hums with an energy that mirrors the storm about to unfold. This invitation is not just an event, it's a catalyst. Later that night, Jasmine rehearses her thoughts, not with words but with intention. She knows Sean Hannity's reputation, the smirks, the interruptions, the cutting jabs disguised as questions. But she also knows her own power. Not just as a legislator, but as a voice for those who've long been muted. The stage is set. Cameras will be rolling, millions will be watching, and the country will be listening. The question is, who will control the narrative? As Jasmine closes her laptop, the weight of the invitation settles over her like a mantle. This hearing will not just be a political spectacle, it will be a battleground for truth, justice, and voice. And Jasmine Crockett is ready to step into the arena. The grand chamber buzzes with a quiet intensity, a predator's anticipation lurking beneath the polished surface of formal proceedings. Jasmine Crockett steps through the massive oak doors, the weight of every eye upon her. Around the horseshoe-shaped dais, senators and congressmen settle into their seats like chess pieces poised for a deadly game. On one side, conservative heavyweights sit with arms folded, faces unreadable. Flanking them is Sean Hannity, his signature smirk playing at the edges of his mouth, a practiced mask of confidence and contempt. Jasmine moves forward alone. No entourage, no fanfare. Her posture is straight, her gaze unwavering. The murmurs ripple through the crowd, some with respect, many with thinly veiled skepticism. Outside the Capitol steps, crowds have gathered, their chants filtered through the open windows. "Justice! Truth! Speak, Jasmine!" and countershouts of "Show us your proof." The dichotomy of support and opposition mirrors the split in the chamber itself. As she takes her assigned seat, Jasmine feels the electric charge of anticipation. The cameras, perched like vultures, swivel toward her. This is no longer just a hearing. It is political theater on the grandest stage, a spectacle designed to entertain, intimidate, and distract. Behind her, the committee chair, Senator Hawthorne, clears his throat. His voice carries the calm menace of a predator ready to strike. Today's hearing will examine media ethics and the responsibilities of those who shape public opinion. We welcome Representative Crockett and Mr. Hannity to share their perspectives. Jasmine's eyes flick briefly to Hannity. He nods, his smile sharp, calculated. This moment, this room, is a crucible. The air thickens as the first cameras roll, and the nation's gaze tightens on the unfolding drama, alone but unshaken. Jasmine prepares to fight not just for her name, but for the truth buried beneath layers of rhetoric and power. The assembly of sharks has circled. The hunt is about to begin. The gavel strikes, slicing through the low hum of whispered conversations and camera shutters. Chairman Hawthorne, a figure sculpted in steel and measured words, commands the chamber's attention with a chilling ease. His opening statement, cloaked in formality, masks the undercurrent of hostility simmering beneath the surface. "We gather today," he intones, "to uphold the sacred pillars of our democracy, transparency, accountability, and the unfettered exchange of ideas." This hearing will explore the delicate balance between free speech and responsible journalism. His eyes linger briefly on Jasmine, a silent warning cloaked in civility. Jasmine sits poised, her hands folded calmly, the flicker of determination blazing behind her composed exterior. Across from her, Hannity leans forward, eyes glinting with a practiced mixture of amusement and disdain. His voice, when it comes, is smooth but edged with sarcasm. As a longtime observer of media ethics, I'm eager to shed light on the challenges facing today's information landscape. Hannity begins, his words calculated to frame himself. As the arbiter of truth? The cameras capture every inflection, every pause, yet beneath the surface, tensions coil like a tightly wound spring. The room's atmosphere is taut with unspoken accusations and veiled threats. What outwardly appears as decorum is a thin veneer masking a deeper battle. One where words are weapons and silence a strategy. As Chairman Hawthorne opens the floor to questions. The first few are polite, almost perfunctory, but Jasmine senses the shift beneath the practiced smiles. The pretense of order is a fragile illusion. She braces herself, knowing that beneath this facade, the real confrontation is just beginning. Outside, the world waits. The cameras zoom in on her steady gaze, the subtle tightening of her jaw. This is no longer a mere hearing. It is a stage, set for conflict, where every word spoken will reverberate far beyond these walls. Hannity leans back, a smirk tugging at the corner of his mouth as he surveys Jasmine Crockett with a predator's appraisal. His questions, though framed as probing inquiries, drip with condescension and performative skepticism. The veneer of journalistic neutrality slips away with every carefully chosen word. You've spoken passionately about misinformation, Hannity says, voice smooth but laced with mockery. But don't you think your emotional responses sometimes cloud your judgment? Isn't it possible that you're reacting, not responding? Jasmine's eyes lock onto his, unflinching. The room quiets, the tension thickening. Hannity's smirk widens, sensing the moment he believes will unnerve her. But Jasmine remains composed, the calm eye within a growing storm. This isn't about emotion, she replies evenly. It's about accountability. Facts matter, no matter who delivers them. Hannity's tone shifts, the question now a weapon, veiled in insinuation. And yet you've aligned yourself with narratives that some say divide rather than unite. How do you reconcile that with your role as a public servant? The room leans in, cameras zoom close. Jasmine inhales slowly, measured. Unity built on lies is no unity at all. True unity demands truth even when it's uncomfortable. Behind her, murmurs ripple through the crowd. Some nod subtly. Others scowl. The line between debate and attack blurs. Hannity's charm begins to crack, revealing a sharper edge beneath. He pushes further, fishing for a reaction, but Jasmine's silence speaks volumes. Her restraint is not weakness, it is statement. She knows this battle isn't won in quick retorts, but in enduring strength. Outside, the protesters' chants grow louder, echoing the chamber's rising storm. This confrontation is no longer a mere hearing, it is a struggle for narrative control, for the heart of a divided nation. While the hearing continues within the imposing marble walls, the camera cuts away to the world outside and beyond. On the steps of the Capitol, a sea of protesters swells with a chorus of voices, vibrant and raw. Some hold signs emblazoned with "Let her speak," others shout, "Truth over spin." Their passion a living pulse against the cold political machinery inside. In a modest college dorm room miles away, a young black law student named Maya scrolls through her phone, eyes wide and restless. She watches the hearing unfold live, captivated by Jasmine Crockett's calm defiance. Maya's hand tightens around her pen as she scribbles notes in the margins of her notebook, a spark igniting deep within her, a spark of hope, of possibility. Back on the steps, the protest is more than political posturing. It's a tangible outcry against the status quo. The chants merge with the distant hum of the city, a heartbeat reminding the nation that this moment transcends politics. It touches identity, truth, and justice. Inside the chamber, Jasmine remains composed, yet she senses the ripple effect her words are causing. This hearing is no longer confined to polished suits and scripted speeches. It is a catalyst stirring a movement, a fissure in the carefully constructed facade of media control. The Cameras cut back inside just as Hannity leans forward again, preparing to strike. But outside, the crowds swell, voices rising in unison. Jasmine's fight has become theirs, and the world is watching. Jasmine Crockett's hand moves deliberately as she places a thick binder on the polished wooden table before her. The room, alive with restless murmurs and shifting seats, suddenly stills. Every pair of eyes, those on the dais, in the gallery, and behind the cameras, fixates on the heavy tome as if it were a detonator waiting to explode. The binder is no mere collection of papers. It is a meticulously compiled archive, years of documented misinformation, carefully traced to Sean Hannity's broadcasts and public statements. Each page, each highlighted passage, is a testament to a pattern of distortion and deception. Jasmine doesn't open it. She doesn't have to. The symbolism of the moment is clear. She has come not just to defend herself, but to hold an entire institution accountable. A sharp intake of breath ripples through the room. Hannity's confident smile wavers, a flicker of doubt breaking through his practiced facade. The air thickens with a charged silence, one heavy with unspoken implications. Jasmine's eyes meet those of Senator Hawthorne, whose usual steely composure falters for a brief moment before he clears his throat and regains control. The media cameras zoom in, capturing the moment for millions watching live. Social media users immediately erupt, sharing images of the binder with captions like "evidence of deceit" and "the truth is here." News anchors pause their broadcasts to comment on the audacity of Jasmine's move. Behind the scenes, her team watches anxiously, knowing that this act raises the stakes beyond any prior expectations. Jasmine herself feels the weight of history pressing down, but embraces it with quiet resolve. The binder drop is not just a legal maneuver. It is a challenge, a gauntlet thrown at the feet of those who've wielded power through misinformation. In that moment, the hearing shifts from a political performance to a battle for the soul of truth itself. The tension in the chamber tightens like a wire about to snap. Sean Hannity's smile has thinned to a tight line, his usual confidence now tempered by irritation and something closer to fear. The binder resting on the table is a silent indictment, a challenge to his carefully constructed public persona. Hannity leans forward, voice sharper, more biting. "So, Representative Crockett," he sneers, "you want us to believe that I'm some kind of villain? That this is all part of a grand conspiracy to mislead the public? Maybe you're just playing the victim here, the classic woke grandstanding." Ripple of murmur sweeps the room. Jasmine's gaze never wavers. She straightens, voice calm but laced with steel. "I'm not playing any role. What I'm showing you is fact, evidence that the public deserves to hear, not spin disguised as news." Her words land like a hammer blow, cracking the fragile mask of decorum. Senator Hawthorne pounds his gavel, attempting to restore order. But the damage is done. The hearing has shifted. What was once a scripted interrogation has turned into a confrontation, raw, unfiltered, urgent. Jasmine senses the moment. This opening crack in the facade reveals the fault lines beneath. The crowd leans in. The cameras catch every breath, every glance. The political stakes have escalated. This is no longer a simple hearing. It is a reckoning. Outside, the protesters swell with renewed vigor. The young law student in her dorm watches with clenched fists and pounding heart. This crack is the beginning of a fracture that could reshape the narrative. Jasmine's calm strength is no longer a quiet defiance. It is the first seismic tremor in a storm that will not be easily silenced. The chamber's tension spills beyond its marble walls into the digital ether, where millions watch in real time. Social media ignites, hashtags like #CrockettVS Hannity and #TruthOverSpin trending within minutes. Clips of Jasmine's composed yet fiery rebuttals flood timelines, sparking fierce debates from living rooms to street corners. News anchors interrupt scheduled programming to dissect every moment, every pause. Opinion pieces flood the internet, some praising Jasmine's unflinching stance, others defending Hannity's long-standing platform. The hearing transcends politics. It becomes a cultural battleground where truth, power, and identity collide. In a quiet office, Judge Marla Boone, Jasmine's former mentor and a retired federal judge, watches the live feed intently. Her eyes narrow with a mix of pride and concern. She picks up the phone and calls a trusted journalist. "They're underestimating her," she says, voice low but firm. "This isn't just a hearing, it's a turning point." Back at the Capitol, Jasmine remains the eye of the storm. She feels the weight of millions upon her shoulders, but carries it with steady grace. The world is listening, watching. Every word she utters has become a thread weaving a larger narrative, one that challenges long-held assumptions and power structures outside. The protesters' chants grow louder, their voices amplified by the viral momentum. Jasmine's fight is no longer confined to the chamber. It is a movement gathering unstoppable force. The live feed nation watches, waits, and wonders. Who will emerge victorious in this battle for the truth? Jasmine rises from her seat, the weight of the moment pressing upon her shoulders. The chamber quiets as all eyes turn toward her. She speaks not just as a congresswoman defending herself, but as a defender of the very fabric of democracy. The First Amendment guarantees free speech. She begins, voice steady and clear. But free speech is not a license to spread falsehoods, to manipulate truth for power. We must remember that with great freedom comes great responsibility. Sean Hannity's eyes narrow, his mouth tightening into a thin line. He interrupts, his voice sharp. "Are you calling me a liar, Representative?" Jasmine holds his gaze without flinching. "I'm calling for honesty, something our nation desperately needs. When trusted voices become conduits of misinformation, they betray the public's trust and weaken our democracy." The room falls silent. This is no longer a partisan dispute. It's a philosophical reckoning. The cameras capture every nuance, the subtle shift in the committee's mood, the flicker of uncertainty in Hannity's demeanor. Her words echo beyond the chamber walls, challenging not just the individual, but the system that enables distortion. Jasmine invokes the Constitution not as a shield, but as a battlefield, a call to arms for integrity, truth, and accountability. Outside, the crowds swell, the chants taking on new fervor. The nation watches as law and media collide in a courtroom of public opinion. The question hangs heavy in the air. Can free speech survive without truth? In a quiet flashback, young Jasmine sits in a modest living room, eyes fixed on a grainy television screen. Anita Hill's voice fills the room, trembling yet fierce, recounting her truth amid a storm of disbelief and denial. Jasmine's mother, watching beside her, turns off the TV abruptly. "They don't want women like us to speak," she says softly, eyes heavy with warning and sadness. Back in the present, the weight of that moment settles over Jasmine as she stands in the hearing room. Every word she utters carries the silent strength of those who came before. Women and men silenced, marginalized, dismissed. She's no longer just defending herself. She's honoring a lineage of courage and resistance. The memory steels her resolve. When Hannity launches another veiled insult, questioning her motives and character, Jasmine remains unshaken. Her voice, calm but resolute, carries not just facts but history and heart. She speaks to the chamber, to the country, to every soul who has been told to be quiet. The echoes of the past reverberate in the chamber's vaulted ceilings. This is a battle fought not just in politics but in the very soul of the nation. Jasmine knows the stakes are higher than ever. Silence is no longer an option. The air in the chamber suddenly shifts, charged with electricity. Sean Hannity, his mask of controlled sarcasm slipping, rises abruptly, voice rising in a fury that shocks the room. "You're what's wrong with America." He explodes, eyes blazing with anger and desperation. The gallery gasps, senators exchange startled looks, and even some of Hannity's allies flinch. The decorum of the hearing shatters in an instant. Jasmine remains seated, eyes calm, unyielding. The silence that follows is thick and palpable. Then, leaning forward with deliberate grace, she delivers the line that cuts through the chaos like a scalpel. "The real problem is that for the first time, America's hearing a voice you can't talk over." The chamber falls utterly silent, the weight of her words hanging in the air like a verdict. No one dares interrupt. The reporters' cameras fixate on her steady gaze, Outside, the roar of the crowd swells, echoing the tension inside. Hannity sits back down, stunned, momentarily speechless. The moment marks a turning point not just in the hearing, but in the battle for the narrative itself. Jasmine's words become a rallying cry, resonating far beyond the marble walls. The battle lines are drawn more clearly than ever. This is no longer a clash of personalities. It is a fight for the soul of a divided nation. Just as the chamber's atmosphere reaches a fever pitch, an unexpected voice cuts through the tension. Senator Wallace, a conservative known for his pragmatism rather than grandstanding, clears his throat and leans into the microphone. "Chairman," Wallace begins, his tone measured but firm, "while I respect the tradition of this committee, I must question the impartiality of this hearing. We are here to examine media ethics, yet it feels increasingly like a one-sided spectacle." Whispers ripple across the chamber. Jasmine watches, surprise mingling with cautious hope. Senator Wallace's challenge unsettles Hannity's allies. Their confident facades flickering, Wallace continues. "If we are to maintain public trust, we must scrutinize all parties equally. No one is above accountability." The chair shifts uncomfortably but nods, conceding the point. For the first time, the narrative cracks. The hearing is no longer a foregone conclusion in Hannity's favor. The cameras pan to Hannity, who now finds himself under a different kind of scrutiny. Jasmine's expression tightens with resolve, recognizing this moment as a turning tide. The political waters are shifting, and she is riding the current, not against it. Outside the chamber, reporters note the change. The story is evolving, and the audience senses a new possibility. That truth might yet emerge from the cacophony of power and rhetoric.